just about 1:15, but. Okay, it's recording. So. Okay, the question was, what's due the next class? See, this discussion about real research, this is due Tuesday, January 23rd. And see, I'm going to change this next semester, but I didn't get to it. Everybody gets so confused by this. Homework is due at the beginning of the class from where it's listed. So this is due Tuesday, January 23rd. Do we have anything due the 18th? I signed an extra thing, that Nearpod. I'd like you to do that by the 18th. So do the Nearpod TYZLV by January 18th, before class. Okay? That's the only thing that's due on the 18th. Now, I actually have the D2L quizzes are due. I have a class survey, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use it. I'll show you in D2L. A class survey in D2L. Oh, do I not have it? It's probably not going to let me get back in. Let's go back into D2L. Oh, here I am. Okay. 15:30. Province stats and pre-calculus look a lot alike. Oh, gosh. Okay, so here's D2L. Here's what's due in D2L, but this survey, I used to use it, and I'm not even sure. It's under quizzes. I don't even have it due. I just have, well, I have it due January 23rd. Class data survey. And you can even just take it now. But I didn't use it last semester. It's not a grade. All you do, though, class data survey. Since I'm a teacher, it's, okay, here's what it looks like. What's your gender? If you had to predict the grade you would earn in this class, what would it be? And then your favorite day of the week. What type of pet do you own? Well, it only lets you pick one. I own some rabbits and some dogs, but type in your age. And then, how many text messages do you think you send in a week? Okay. And you can do that at any point. It's not a grade. And I used to use that for you guys to make Excel charts with it. This is under quizzes. Go to submit. Okay, submit it. Oh. Okay, and it shows you it shows what you selected because it shows everything. This is under quizzes. It just takes a second to take it. And I may or may not have you make a chart with this. I probably won't. But I used to, statistics is about collecting data, and then we don't just take lists of data. Say we had lists of ages of everybody in the class. Well, are we going to just put all the ages up on the board? And there's the ages. No, we're going to add them all together and divide by how many there were and find an average. or we're gonna make a chart, a histogram, and show where do most of the ages lie. Well, I could guess that most of you are not in your 50s. So, but my age is probably an outlier. It's far away from the rest of your ages. So that's the class data survey, and you can take it if you want to. That's optional. I don't know if I'm probably not going to do anything with it, but statistics is actually about collecting data, and we do things with it. We make charts. If it's numerical data, we can find the median, or we can find, that's the middle value if you list them in order, or we can find the average, which we call in statistics the mean. That's where you add them up and divide by how many there are. So a bunch of these things are due on the 23rd. The only thing that's due Thursday was that Nearpod. And some of you may have even been able to sit here in class and do the Nearpod this time. But, okay. And I didn't see that you did it in class, but okay. Any questions about what's due? And the other thing I used to do is my other classes like this is I go into Shobi, and under discussions, right after class, I type in what's due the next class for you as a reminder. And then if you set up Shobi right, you'll get an email that tells you that. So anytime I make changes. So that's what I did for my class last semester, and if you'd like me to, I think I saw some yes, do that, please. Okay, I can do that for you. Okay, but you should log into Shobi a lot, and so where does this show? So if you log into Shobi, you can see what's due. You log into D2L, and on the course home of our class, you can see what quizzes are due in surveys. But I don't know why it's only showing, I must not have clicked the thing to show. Okay, well, I'll fix that. It's not showing the surveys. But, okay, so under quizzes I should have this learning contract, edit, display to calendar should be checked. Save and close. There we go. And then class policies, edit, and display to calendar. There we go. Now when I go to course home, now those three are shown. And like I said, you don't have to do this survey if you don't want. It's just 5 questions though. But now those are showing up. Learning contract and the class policies. Well, that's class policy is a quiz, and I'll let you take it a couple times. So you should be able to get 100 on that. Learning contract, when you take that, it's a survey. The learning contract is a survey. When you take that, please ignore your grade. There it is. You can click on it. There it is. Ignore your grade when you submit it, because I will see after everybody submitted it, I'm going to the grade book and change everything to 10 out of 10. Okay? That's a survey, so it's going to be changed to 10 out of 10. Or 5 out of 5, or whatever it's worth. It says 5 points here. I don't know. I think it's 10 points. I think I give you 10 points on it. Okay, any other questions? Questions? All right. Did I lose everybody? All right, let's see. So we got the calendar. If we have a snow day, I'll probably give you a self-paced Nearpod to do. Or, so look for my assignment, and I'll post it in Shobi and or D2L. Okay. So this is chapter 2. We've collected data, and if our data is numbers, and we're gonna want to make a frequency distribution with it. Let me go to Shobi a minute. Pull up a slideshow. Shobi, test 1 notes in PowerPoint. PowerPoint for chapter 1. No, that's not the chapter I'm on. Okay. Chapter 2. Forgot. Okay. So if we've got a large data set, we want to make a frequency distribution. And it just helps find where is most of the data located. And here's, so if you had all these numbers here of pulse rates of females, let's just look at those. Would that be helpful to have just a list like that? Could you tell me where most of those pulse rates lie? If you're in nursing, you probably know. Okay, where do most of them fall? Between 70 and 75, 65 and 70. But look, just looking at them like this, you can't tell. So what we do is we organize them into a frequency distribution. Our minimum data value was 60, our maximum was like, I don't remember, in the 120s. So we found the class width and we made a table. This is called a frequency table. And we counted how many data values were between 60 and 69. And from that previous chart, there were 12 data values, including any that fell right on these numbers. And there were 14 data values that were between 70 and 79, including the 70 and 79. And so now if I ask you, where did most of these data values fall, you can say between 70 and 79. And then 60 and 69 was pretty close. They had a lot of data there too. And so this is the frequency for a particular class. These are the classes: 60 to 69, 70 to 79, 80 to 89, 90 to 99, 100 to 109, and 110 to 119, and 120 to 129. Those are the classes. And here's the frequencies, the number of data values that fell in each class. So we call this first number over here the lower class limits. We have 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, and 120 are all lower class limits. And then we have the upper class limits. On your paper, it actually tells you the definition of lower class limits and upper class limits. Right here and here. Okay? And then we can find midpoints, which is on the second page of your handout. Tells you the definition of midpoint, so you don't need to be writing these definitions down. But we'll be doing this handout. This is an overview. The midpoints are the middle number that's between these two class limits, the lower and the upper. So you can add these together and divide by 2 to find these midpoints. Add these together and divide by 2. Those are the midpoints. So if you wanted one number to use to define each class, you use the midpoint. Now, the class width is defined as the difference between 2 consecutive lower class limits or 2 consecutive lower class boundaries. Well, so the distance between 60 and 70 is 10. 70 minus 60 is 10. 80 minus 70 is 10. You want the class width the same throughout the chart. You don't want it 10 here and 15 here, 20 here and 5 here. No, you want it the same. It's a distribution. You're going to keep the class width the same. So we're going to go make a chart in a minute with this bare data. So the reasons for constructing frequency distributions is we can have large data sets can be summarized and we can analyze the nature of the data. And then we can construct an important graph called a histogram. So here's the example. So and we have if you don't have an 83 or 84 calculator right now, we have calculators that are on your desktop in these classes. Let me make that small and show you right here. Calculator shortcut. If it looks right here on my computer, if you double click on that, it should come up. If you don't have a calculator, you'll be able to use that one. Good. It came up. So you have one, okay. Did you get the calculator come up? Wait. Okay. Click somewhere else. Right there. Double click on it. Huh? Okay, good. And you make it bigger one by grabbing it on the side and maybe too big. You can drag it around. Oh, what happened to show? Huh. Oh, well maybe you show me this right. You can X out. Oh, I'm showing the slides. Wait, that's funny. You don't need to use it. So what we're doing now is looking at two notes. And you need to bring the calculator up. We got it. You know how to get the calculator up? You want it? You hit the those little minus or double click. That's the calculator. You got a calculator? Oh, you got it up. Anybody here need help with the calculator? You get it up? Calculator up on the screen? Okay. All right. So we do use a lot of technology in this class. So we have to turn this calculator on too if it's been off for a while. And I clear it out. Okay. So I have it up twice. Well, I can close one of those. Let you bring it up more than once. Okay. Okay, so the class width was defined as the difference between two consecutive lower class boundaries or upper class boundaries or lower class limits or midpoints. The class width is the difference between two consecutive midpoints, two consecutive lower class boundaries, two consecutive lower class limits, upper class limits. That's how it's defined. But what if we're starting from a list of just data, raw data here? How do we find the class width? Well, we have to use this formula. We take the maximum data value and subtract the minimum data value, and then we divide by the number of classes we want. In this example, we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 classes. These are going to be our classes, and we'll count up the frequencies. Okay? So, and when you're doing this, so you don't leave out the maximum data value, you always go up, and we're going to go up to the next whole number because we're always going to do whole data. You go up to however your data is rounded. Our data, we're not going to cover having data to the first decimal place, but we would just go up to the first decimal place if we had to. But we're going to go up to the next whole number, and that's so we don't leave out the maximum value. So here's examples of rounding up, and it's not actually rounding. It's going up, And why do we go up? So we don't leave out the maximum value, maximum data value. That's why we do that. So here's some examples. Now we're going to type these in our calculator. This is a fraction bar, and so tell me what I'm doing wrong here. Does this answer make any sense? Now, you should know. That makes no sense. Why? I need parentheses. I either need parentheses. A fraction bar either needs parentheses, or you do the top first and then divide. A fraction bar means that there are parentheses here. So you either put those parentheses in with your calculator. So you can put in 150 minus, you have to use the minus sign and not this negative sign, 45, and close the parentheses, and then you can hit divided by 8. You get a totally different answer. The reason, so the calculator does not have a fraction bar, it just has a divided by. So you have to add parentheses whenever you see a fraction bar. Or you do the top, hit enter, and then do answer divided by. So I'll do it that way too. I always forget to put the parentheses in. So I do 150 minus 45, enter, and then I hit divided by 8, because that's the number of classes. And that's the correct answer. And you know, 150 minus 45, that's about 100, and if I divide it by 8, I should get 12 something, 13. So my answer of 144 made no sense. It helps to think about, did that answer make any sense? So 13.125, and what would we go to? Would we use 13 or would we use 14? 14. We would use 14. Now if we take the same thing and divide by 6 instead, we want 6 classes. Enter, divided by 6. And I get 17.5. So I would have to use 18. And the last one, 150 minus 45 divided by 7 gives me exactly 15. Guess what? If we get exactly a number, we still have to go up to the next number. Otherwise, we'll leave out the maximum data value. So even if you get a whole number, you still need to go up to the next number. And it is, I don't like to call it rounding. So I would like to say would go up to, I don't like to use the word rounding because rounding implies that you're, that you are, that's why it was in parentheses, like, quote, quote, or rounding, because it's not regular rules of rounding. Regular rules of rounding, you got less than a half, you're going to go down. You got more than 0.5, you're going to go up, or 0.5 and up. So this is, so the reason it's not regular rules of rounding because we would leave out our maximum data value. So here we're going to do this chart. Let's do the first one just by tallying. So to help you understand it, not get, we could type these in the calculator. We'll type in the next step. Okay, so look at the data, find the maximum number. Is it 436? At this point in my day, I'm thinking these things are all... Oh, I have the answers here. Let's see. Let's make sure it's 436. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, 436 is the maximum value. So we're going to take the maximum value minus the minimum, and they said to use 6 classes. So you're going to take 436 and subtract the minimum data value, which is 26, and divide by 6, because that's what it said to use. 6 classes, that's the number of classes. And you need to put your parentheses around it. So 436 minus 26, enter, and then divide that by 6. It's less keystrokes that way. And you get 68.333. So you go up to 69. That's your class width, 69. Now, I want you to leave it at 69, even though 70 would be not much easier and nicer, but so I know you understand this. We're just going to go up to the next whole number, not make it a nice even number. In reality, if you were making charts for your company, you'd probably go up to a nice even number. Okay? But now we're going to find the first lower class limit. Well, we're going to start here with the first lower class limit. And we could use 0, but we don't have that much data around 0. We're going to always start with our first lower class limit will be our minimum value, data value. And in this case, it equals 26. So we're going to put 26 here. And then we're going to add the class width going down. And so we're going to add, remember the class width was defined as the difference between any two consecutive lower class limits, the ones that are next to each other. Luckily, we have our calculator to use here because we're doing 26 plus 69. We can just use our calculator. So, and then you add another 69. You find all your lower class limits first. So keep adding 69. And then another 69. And another 69. And you've got 164, 233, 302, and 371. Okay, that's how we make a frequency table from a list of data. We find our class width, and then we start with our first lower class limit as the minimum value, and we put that down, and then we add the class width going down the chart. Now we have to find our first upper class limit. It goes right here. So we don't want to use 95, because if we have a data value at 95 there, don't use 95. So did you already write 94 in? You don't want to use 90, you might miss some. You don't want to miss any, you don't want to count any data twice. So when we're doing whole data here, we're just going to subtract 1 from the next lower class limit. So this is going to be 163, and this 233 minus 1 is 232. 302 minus 1 is 301. And these are actually 69 apart. So you could add 69, but it's easier to subtract 1. So it's 370. But now you're going to have to add your 69. Don't add 69 this way. We're adding down. So 370 plus 69 is 439. And there it is. That's your classes. you have 6 classes. They're 26 to 94, 95 to 163, etc. You see, everybody get that? So we're making a frequency table. And why? It's because when we look at this data, list of data over here, can you tell me where most of that data lies? With just glancing at it real quick? Probably not. So this is going to tell us where does most of the data lie? Where does the least lie? What shape is the distribution? So now we can go and tally it, or we could type this in Excel and sort it, or we could type it in our calculator and sort it. But we're going to tally it for the first time. So 80, where does that go? It goes here, so I'm going to make a tally mark. 344, where does that go? Second to the bottom one, and I crossed it out. 416 in the last class. 348, and you can make tally marks. This is a hard way to do it, but it may help you understand it. Me using all these computers and stuff sometimes gets in the way of learning. 220, 262, 360, 204 goes here, 144 goes there, 332, 34, 140, 180, 105, 166 is here. I can make that 5, 204, 26, 120, 436, the last one, 125 is 5, 132, 6, 90, there, 40, and 220. So then we can write the numbers: 5, 6, 7, 1, 4, and 2. So where does most of the data lie on these weights of bears? I didn't even read what it was, you know. Well, these are weights of bears in pounds between ages of 8 months and 177 months. So most of the weights, the highest frequency was 164 to 232. And the least number was between 233 and 301, and we can talk about the shape later. So you guys made a frequency table, frequency distribution. And that tells us, so it's totally different than calculus. Does this make sense to you guys? Did I go too fast? You getting this? Yes. You getting it? Okay, good. All right. So the next one is we're going to do it again, and I'll show you how to use a calculator. Let's talk about the definition of class boundaries. Well, let's see. Do I have? Let's see. Oh, unknown error. Okay. I'll just do this. We don't. You can look back at the slideshow if you want. I'll tell you what class boundaries are. Class boundaries separate the classes, but without the gaps created by the class limits. So for this, we'll find class bound. No, we don't. Let me go back on the first page and find the class. Show you how to find the class boundaries. So the class boundaries. Let me get a different color. Got green here. Okay. We're Christmas colors. Okay. The class boundaries, because this is whole data, and we'll just work with whole data in this class, is halfway between 94 and 95. So the class boundaries, and a half below the 26, so our class boundaries And Math Lab, Stat Lab will ask you for these, will be 25.5. It'll be a half below the lowest class limit, and it'll be the number between the 94 and the upper class limit and the next lower class limit between the classes is 94.5. And then it'll be the number between 163 and 164, 163.5. And then you can add 69. These will be 69 apart. Or you can keep doing that, but it's going to be 232.5. It's really going to be a half added to those. Okay. 232.5, 301.5, 370.5, and 439.5. And that's what you type in for the class boundaries. Then you can use one number. If you were going to graph this and make a histogram, you could use one number instead of having 94, 95 and a gap there. But we'll show you that in a minute. But, so that's the class boundaries. They'll always be a half below the lowest number and a half above the upper class limits. And you only list them once. Commas between them for Stat Lab. Then I don't, Stat Lab asks you for them, but I don't. Okay, that's what class boundaries are. Class midpoints are the values in the middle of the classes. And once we found the first class midpoint, we can just add the class width to find the next one. Relative frequency is the proportion of values in each class. We're going to divide the frequency of each class by the total number of data values. We'll do that. And cumulative frequency is the sum of the frequencies for that class and all previous classes. So here's the body length in inches of wild bears. Create a distribution table consisting of 5 classes. All right, so we need to find the maximum data value over there. We can actually put these in our calculator. Do you want to put them in the calculator? Learn how to put them in the calculator? Everybody got the calculator up? You turn it on, clear it out. To put these in the calculator, we're going to press Stat, the Stat key, Stat, and it shows up as Edit. And number one edit. You want to go ahead and either hit Enter or 1. I just hit Enter. You want to edit. There's your list. Okay? We can clear our list, and I have detailed calculator instructions on how to do this posted in D2L. Plus there's some instructions in my Stat Lab on this. To clear the list, did everybody hit Stat and Enter and they see their lists? You can arrow up to the list name and you're going to press Clear down arrow. So my lists have things in them. Ready to go around? Is everybody looking at this? Is anybody missing your list 1 or list 2 in your calculator? Is your calculator different though?
Yeah.
See, yeah, I say list. You have to be able to put those in there first. You probably have lists somewhere. See, that's, so you press that. Oh, did you already?
Yeah,
Do you know how to do it? Okay. Oh, you're already going ahead and do it. Okay. Hers already cleared. Did everybody get to the list on your calculator? You guys aren't needing help, or you're not asking. Wow. Okay. College level class. Clear down arrow. if you go up to the list name, this is a quick way of clearing your list. You can press clear down arrow. If it's already cleared, you don't need to clear them. And then you just type the data in list 1. So you're going to type in 53, enter. And it's just a lot of typing. And I'm just going down the chart and down and down and down. So, and you have to be careful that you type them in right, especially if it's a test. 70, 75, 68, 64, 58, 73, 37, 63, 67, and 52, 59. This is a thing about statistics. Tedious, okay. 64, 36, 59, 72, 57, 61, 54, 40, and 63, and 46, last row for me, 62, 42, 61, and 49. And then if it's a test or a quiz or my stat lab, you probably want to arrow back and make sure you typed them in right. Definitely look at how many numbers you typed in. I'm on spot 31, so that means I typed in 30 data values. Well, how many data values are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 6 is 30. So there's 30 data values, so I know at least I have the right number. And I should arrow up and check, but I'll know if it's wrong because I have the answers. Okay, and then you can hit, so you've got the data, so we entered the data, we cleared our lists out, and we entered the data in our list 1. And then I can, to sort the data, we're going to sort it. We press stat, and then we go down to sort. So I press stat, and it says sort ascending. I'll just pick that one. Number 2, sort A. I'm going to go down. You can either click 2 or you can go down to the 2 and hit enter. And this is your home screen. Your home screen should have been cleared. If you're doing something else in front of that sort A, it's not on the left by itself, it's going to give you an error. Before we started this, we should have cleared our home screen, but mine was cleared. Okay? Yours is right. Okay, then you need to tell it the list name. If you use list 1, you'll press second 1, and then you can close the parentheses. So you press second 1 to get list 1 in there, and then you hit enter. It's going to say done. All right? Now, in order to see that it's sorted, you go back into stat and edit. You have to go in and see your list. And it is sorted. The lowest data value was 36. So that's our minimum. So we got to find our class width, our max minus our min. And this time we're going to divide by 5. So in our maximum, if we arrow down to the bottom of this list, our maximum is 75. So we have 75 minus 36 divided by 5. Okay, leave that list in there, don't clear it out. We'll come back to it. when we're finding our frequencies, so we don't have to tally it now, we can just count how many are in each class. So, I can hit second quit, clear out my home screen. I'm gonna do this 75 minus 36. Since I don't like the parentheses, so I just hit enter, and then I divide by 5. Answer divided by 5. And I get 7.8. So I'm going to go up to 8. So our class width is 8. I'm going to get rid of the calculator for a minute. So we're going to fill in our class limits. So we start with our minimum value, 36. And then we add 8. So that's 44. Add another 8 is 52, 60, and 68. Oh, it's 2 o'clock? Oh my gosh. Well, we'll finish this next time. I didn't even know what time it was. I'm just going to keep going.